Ahoy hoy YouTube, I am the director of TYT Gaming and my personal channel TPS. You're watching the amazing Spider-Man gameplay, and I should note that if you're interested, it will be out in a few hours by the time you see this video, so go check it out if you want to buy it. Now let me just set up this whole commentary by saying, I am a huge fan of Spider-Man. I love the comics, I love the games. Hell, I'm looking at my Spider-Man blanket right now, and that's not even a joke, that's actually true. The Amazing Spider-Man video game naturally piques my interest, so I took a look at the game over the weekend, and I have to say I was really disappointed by what I saw. Again, a little context here. The past few superhero games over the years have been pretty good. Lego Batman, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Web of Shadow, and of course Batman Arkham Asylum, Arkham City are the gold standards when it comes to superhero video games. But I can't expect all superhero games to be Batman Arkham worthy. But I can expect, at least a silver version. If they're not the gold standard, give me a silver standard maybe. A recent trend I have been noticing, especially in the Spider-Man franchise, is that these games are taking a step back. I mentioned Shattered Dimensions, but what I didn't mention was Spider-Man Edge in Time, which was the sequel. That game was a giant step back critically speaking. I'm not sure how that's even possible with Shattered Dimensions. It was made by the same developer. It's kind of like suddenly forgetting how to walk. But when I heard The Amazing Spider-Man has been in development for 2 years, I had to check it out. And of course, you've been looking at the gameplay for The Amazing Spider-Man, and I wouldn't mention this if the PR guy for the game didn't keep trying to sell this point. But he keeps talking about it. You can look through it in many videos. Look at the camera. Look how intense and fast it is. Look how close you are to Spider-Man. To a small degree, this is a selling point, but you have to stretch out the definition of effective selling point for it to match. I liken this to when Sonic jumped to 3D. Crazy speed, great graphics, the frame rate was smooth, and of course, that was a jump from the Sega Genesis to the Dreamcast. We're in 2012. Not only have I experienced fast web swinging, but I've done it on multiple platforms. Spider-Man 2, Ultimate Spider-Man from the previous generation, and even Web of Shadows from this current generation. Their selling point is terrible because I can walk downstairs and play the same game mechanics for free. Tons of people bought Spider-Man 2. What makes me want to buy The Amazing Spider-Man? For gameplay features I played almost 6 years ago? Furthermore, what the hell is up with the web swinging mechanics? It's a giant step backwards. Spider-Man can swing from clouds. You heard me right, and let's just do a little self-promotion here. I did a Throwback Thursday on Spider-Man 2000, which came out obviously in the year 2000. That was 2 generations ago, and we forgave them for swinging amongst clouds. Come on, you can't make a Spider-Man game that makes Spider-Man's web attach building to building rather than the freaking sky? Honestly, that's why I feel like they put the camera there, to hide the fact it's difficult to see where his webs are attaching to. And before you say I'm being unrealistic here, this function already existed. It's an aesthetic feature, but also a small gameplay feature, because you can't if you're Spider-Man, you can't swing cloud to cloud, people. This is something that existed on the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, Xbox 360, PS3. This is an established thing. Why are we taking a step backwards here? The gaming media is doing a terrible job. Why are they not calling out the developers on this? They developed this game for 2 years, and the best they can do is advertise a rather bland New York City again, and with a new camera that kind of hides your imperfections. I'll be positive here for a moment because I think this is actually a pretty good addition, but the combat system looks really good. It looks like the Arkham City fighting style finally carried over. I want to see how it gets repetitive in the sense of missions. For example, I don't need to see the same variation of a generic thug stealing some woman's purse or, someone stealing a car. I've been saying this for years. I don't get why no one's done this, by the way. In the comics, there always seems to be some villain that robs a bank only to escape from jail 2 weeks later. Why not implement that into the game? Have Shocker or one of your lower ranked villains rob something every few days and escape. Maybe every so often a bigger villain like Doc Ock or Carnage comes in, and you can have 2 to 3 variations on that crime that they commit. Just make it interesting. Don't give me the same generic thugs over and over again. This is something that literally happens in Spider-Man 2. But let me talk about Rhino for a moment. There are very few guarantees I can make in life, but let me just make these guarantees. The sun will come up tomorrow, Democrats will collapse under pressure, and the way to beat Rhino is to get him to run into something, get stuck, and then attack him. I did Throwback Thursday for Spider-Man on the PS1 and N64. That game is almost 12 years old, and it's the same boss battle with the same villain. The comic books have lasted 50 years, and have come up with new ways for Rhino to fight Spider-Man. Why can't the games? Hell, here's one idea about a boss battle that involves Rhino. Have him run into people. Spider-Man has to save them before Rhino actually runs into them. Have Rhino use his horns to knock over entire buildings and have Spider-Man glide in to save the day. Something like that. Don't give me the same boss battle I fought maybe 12 years ago, and it's been in every Spider-Man game since. And also make it theme-based. Look, Spider-Man's entire theme is great power comes with great responsibility and stuff like that. Now in the comics is, I don't want anyone to die. So why not incorporate that whole sense of theme into your games? Maybe you pick and choose who you save and who you don't save. Things like that, and you're under pressure, under time, something like that. I don't know. But look at the Batman games. In the Batman games, you have the detective mode, and that goes with the entire subplot of Batman being a detective. Those are just ideas I've randomly come up with in this commentary alone. I'm not being paid 2 years to come up with these ideas like these developers are, and they're giving me same recycled garbage. Come on, they have to hold themselves to a better standard. At least the gaming media does. And this goes to my chief frustration. I'm frustrated with the Spider-Man video games because they could be so great. The movie and the game will sell amazingly. Why should our standards be set lower and take such huge step backs? We should have a higher standard for these video games. Every game should aspire to be like Arkham City or Arkham Asylum. Things like that. And of course everyone, these videos aren't just my ideas. I want to see your ideas. What ideas do you have for a Spider-Man video game? How can we avoid making this repetitive after so many years? Put it in your comments below, guys. I will try and reply to every one of you guys. Have a great day.